I remember you had experience in banking, big tech, you've done startups, you've done it all. What part of your journey, even at maybe if it's high school, I don't know, but what part of all of this journey, especially the early years, shaped you the most? And what do you think you would skip in hindsight if you could go back?
Yeah, I did a few things. If I think back to high school, and I grew up in the Philippines and I went to an international school in Manila. And so when I think to where I am today and what mattered from those earlier days, first, I lived in a very international environment. Like I worked with people from I went to school with people from all around the world. I had the good fortune of living in this very international community, of never really being from anywhere, but at the same time being from everywhere. And that today, when I think about the company that I run, the community that I'm in, it's an incredibly international community, and I'm very comfortable with that. And that upbringing, I think, helped a lot in that regard. I did a few things that outside of academics that were very formative. First, I played a lot of tennis, which is an individual sport that is incredibly difficult, mentally grueling, a lot of problem solving, and very alone. And as much as I hate to say it, that is a lot about the entrepreneurial journey as well. And so I think it prepared me for that. I did a lot of public speaking and, debating and extemporaneous communication. And I learned later on in life that, and I would say this today, that high schools, colleges, the one thing they don't teach you that might be the most important thing for your life is how to communicate. There are no courses in that. There are no requirements in that. But I happened to do it and I was lucky because I think later on in life it served me incredibly well. And finally, like I had the opportunity early on to come to the US. And I don't think anything else would have been possible if I didn't have that opportunity either in those early days.
To your point about tennis, I had neighbors that played tennis, and I wanted to play tennis, but it was impossibly hard. And I remember, once again, I'll reminisce a little bit about Bloomreach. We put together a ping pong tournament. I was matched up against you. And I didn't know you were a tennis player or a ping pong player. I didn't know this. So I was matched up against you and I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going against the CEO. I remember you had some really important meeting. You walked out of the meeting, you came, you beat me like something a lot to a little. Two games, walked back and I think did a board meeting or something crazy. I was like, oh, so he really is good. So yeah, tennis has been very impactful. All right, let's keep going there on the early years. What mindset shift or early decision that you made back then? You said you had a lot. What do you think some of that stuff from early on gave you some leverage even today?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was pretty much on my own from 16, 17. My parents had left the country. I was finishing high school. I was staying with friends. I was finishing up my courses. So I was just really independent, really young. And that mindset was basically a mindset of, well, it's on you. You are what you make of your day. You will. And I, at the same time as, there's always a little bit of apprehension that comes along with that. I think it gave me incredible confidence and belief, and also an incredible love of that kind of independence. And so I think that independent mindset of sort of like, no excuses, not going to blame anybody, not going to hold anybody else accountable, not going to expect anything from anyone. You are what you make of yourself. That mindset I find is important and was important at that time.
And still is very important. Me being in HR, once again, I'm speaking to the people watching or listening, taking that self accountability because all the times you go through the PIPs and the coaching plans, and it's the ones that I see that make it are the ones that have said, oh, wait, you're right. I messed up. I didn't do what I needed to do. And they button down and they end up being these transformational employees. But the ones that I see bouncing from job to job are the ones that it's always somebody else. So that self accountability is just huge and you have to do it no matter if you do have things to blame. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like the conversation I often have with people who say, I want more mentor. I want a mentor in my life. And I think if you're a truly independent, um, a self-accountable person, as you described, you don't look for one mentor because every interaction gives you some form of mentorship. You should learn something from everybody and then draw the best from all of that, build the mosaic of yourself out of that, and then be who you're going to be.